Hello, so welcome back to this channel, and in today's video we're going to be going over how to make use of a dynamic pop-up menu. So pop-up menus are very useful, especially in the cases where we want to display options based on different contexts. So in this type of scenarios, the dynamic pop-up menu can come into handy. The normal way of creating menu in Android requires that you create different menu files and put all of them in the menu folder, but this appears to be very stressful, especially when you want to have types of menu in your application, menus of different kinds. So the normal approach of creating menu files wouldn't really suffice in this particular scenario. But let's go ahead and see how useful our dynamic pop-up menu can be. So this is the project that we're going to be building out in this particular tutorial. So how this app functions is very simple. So when we click on best location, when we click on choose options, we can see that we have a different menu that displays best locations. This is Beverly Hills, Java, Indonesia, Roma, Italy. So I can select Java, Indonesia. And if I change the context from best location to best meals, and when I click on this text view, so it's going to bring options that relates to best meals. So here I have fried rice, grilled chili meat, and egg sauce. I really enjoy grilled chili meat. So if I select this, it displays here. So what we are going to be going over is how to really create a dynamic pop-up menu. So this is what we are going to be doing in this particular tutorial. So if what we are going to learn seems interesting to you, then keep watching and don't forget to hit the like button, and also if you're new here, consider subscribing. Okay, so now that we are ready, so let's jump right into it. Now we're gonna go ahead and create a new Android project, because this is going to be an Android app, of course. Alright, so let's go ahead and click on create. So it is going to be a blank app. So our project is being created. Alright, now the first thing we want to do will be to go ahead and load up the layout. Okay, so this is our layout. Okay, so our layout is completely loaded. Now the first thing we need to do is to go ahead and change this to a linear layout. I'm going to change this to a linear layout as well. Okay, so the next thing we need to do will be to go ahead and set the orientation. So the orientation is going to be vertical. We're going to just add some padding. The padding is going to be 40 dp. Okay, so just to ensure that we don't spend all of our time, working on the XML, I'm going to go ahead and type out the XML code and we'll go over it together. So we successfully added 2 radio buttons accompanied with 2 test views. So what we had here was to add a linear layout with a horizontal orientation. So what we did was to first of all add a test view, and the test of the first test view is best locations, and we had a radio button, and the ID is best places radio, because we are going to be clicking on the radio buttons. And after which we added another test view for best meals, and we added another radio button for best meals. Alright, so let's take a look at the completed project and know the next thing to do. So we need to go ahead and add a test view and an image view. So what we need to do here is to go ahead and add a test view, and after which we'll add an image view. So this sort down icon we see here is contained in an image view. So what we are going to do will be to go ahead and add this image to our project. So the next thing we need to do will be to go ahead and add this image into our project. So if you've been following this video and you want to get this image, you can do it by clicking on the GitHub link which is in this video description. You can clone or check out the code so that you'll be able to have access to this image and the codes generally. So let's go ahead and add this to our project. So we're going to click on drawable. We're going to add an existing item. Alright, so this is the image, so let's go ahead and add it. Alright, so the image has been successfully added. Now the next thing we need to do will be to add the text view and the image view. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so what we did was to add a linear layout. So this is our text view. We called it option text view with few attributes that we're already very used to. And this is our image view, and you can see the ID is sort down image view, and the source of the image is from the new image that we just added, sort down. So this is all we have to do for the user interface. Now the next thing we need to do will be to go into our main activity and connect these views. Okay, so here in our main activity, so I'm gonna go ahead and increase this zoom. So the first thing I need to do will be to go ahead and define the radio buttons. Alright, so I'm gonna have best places radio, and I'm gonna have best meals radio. Okay, so now the next thing to define will be the test view. That's the option test view. And we're gonna go ahead and define the image view as well. That's the sort down image view. Alright, so now that we have that out of the way, the next thing we need to do will be to go ahead and reference these views. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this because we're not going to be needing it. So let's go ahead and connect the views. So connecting the views is something that I'm very certain that everyone knows how to do. So best place radio is going to be radio button, find view by ID, resource.id.best place radio. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for best meals radio. Okay, so after we are done with that, the next thing we need to do will be to go ahead and create click event handlers for the best places radio and the best meals radio. So as you can see that in the completed project, if we click on best location, it will automatically uncheck best meals radio. So these two are tied together. So let's go ahead and do this. So to achieve that, first we need to add a click event handler for best meals radio. So we're gonna have best meals radio.click. So we need to do the same thing for best places radio. So when I talk about radio, I'm actually referring to a radio button. It's not like a radio station or whatsoever. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and write some code here. Best meals radio dot checked equal to false. And for this, when we click on best meals radio, we want to automatically uncheck best places radio button. Alright, so this is all we need to do here. Okay, so this is the point that we'll get into the real important stuff, which is to go ahead and create a dynamic pop-up menu. Alright, so to be able to do that, we need to create a click event handler for our option test view. So I'm gonna say option test view dot click. So it's when the user clicks on this test view, we want to automatically generate the pop-up menu. In that way, we don't have to manually create menu files and drop it in our menu folder. That's very stressful, especially when you have so much context that you want to display your menu upon. So this is just a very good way of going about it. So here I'm going to define pop-up menu. So it is going to be equal to new pop-up menu. So we're going to pass it our context, and we're going to pass it the view that we want to anchor our context menu on. So as you can see in the completed project, if we click on this, you can find out that the menu, the context menu or the pop-up menu is attached to or is anchored to this test view. So we can decide to anchor it to this view or any other view that we can see in our app. So we're going to go ahead and pass option test view here. So this is all we need to do to declare a pop-up menu. Now the next thing we need to do will be to go ahead and add menus that we want to display in the pop-up menu. Alright, so how to do that is also very straightforward. So we're gonna say pop-up menu.add. Alright, okay, so as you can see, add method has various signatures. Alright, so this is the one that we're actually interested in. We're going to make use of this signature. The first parameter that we need to pass into this method is the group ID, but there is no group ID here, so I'm gonna go ahead and say menu. So let's go ahead and resolve this. So menu.none, we resolve this. Now the next thing we need to provide will be the item ID. So we already know that every single view that we want to reference to will always have an ID. This is the point that we're going to assign an item ID to this particular menu, right? So we're going to assign one to this. So how do we want it to be ordered? Do you want this to be the first item or the third item or the second item, depending on how you want to display it? So we want this to be the first item in our menu. So I'm going to go ahead and select one. Now the next thing we need to do will be to go ahead and provide the option that we want to display on our menu, which in this regard, let's say is fried rice. Okay, so we successfully created one of the items in the menu. So I can still go ahead and create menu for grilled chili meat and egg sauce. So let me go ahead and do that quickly. Okay, so we successfully added grilled chili mate and egg sauce. So as you can see, the item ID and the item position is almost the same thing. So this will occupy the second position and this will occupy the third position. So after this, the next thing we need to do will be to go ahead and display our pop-up menu. So I'm going to say pop-up menu dot show. So this will go ahead and display our pop-up menu. This is very simple and straightforward, isn't it? So like I earlier mentioned, what we want to achieve is to be able to create this pop-up menu depending on the context. So if the context is best meals, we know that, yeah, this is very much appropriate. And if the context or whatever situation we are considering is best places, then this doesn't suffice. It means that we need to kind of recreate other types of menu. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to add a small if statement. So I'm going to say if best meals radio dot checked is equal to true. All right, so I'm going to paste this here. I'm going to delete this. Okay, so else best places dot checked is true. All right, so this is the point where we need to go ahead and create the options for best places contest. All right, so here we're going to say popup menu dot add. All right, so the item ID is going to be 1 and the order is going to be 1, and what we want to display will be Beverly Hills, USA. Another interesting location that we'll have in mind, I like Java Indonesia, so I'm gonna go ahead and add Java Indonesia. So in case you have any other interesting place in mind, you can go ahead and add that. I'm just adding location that I think is really interesting to me. Alright, so I'm gonna have Beverly Hills. Sorry, we're gonna have Java Indonesia. So it appears that we made some mistakes. This was supposed to be 3. Alright, so this is exactly how to go about creating the pop-up menu. And before we forget, for the pop-up menu to be able to display, we must call this method, the show method. So to verify that all of this works, before we move over to the next thing we need to do, let's go ahead and run this on an emulator and see it in action. Okay, so let's select best locations and click on this so we can see Beverly Hills. Alright, so when we click on best meals and we click on the option test view, so we can see the new pop-up menus. The context is best meals and these are the best meals that we have. And when we select best locations, so these are the best locations. So if you notice, when we click on this image, nothing happens, and when we select Beverly Hills, it doesn't go into this test view. So let's go ahead and fix that. So how to make the image clickable is very simple. All we just need to do is to add a click event handler to the sort down image view. So I'm gonna have sort down image view dot click, and instead of creating a totally new click event handler, you could just go ahead and assign this option test view click. So I'm gonna have option test view click. So whenever a user clicks on the sort down image view, it will go ahead and execute this event handler. Okay, so why pop-up menu is even very useful is that when you select one of the menus, something's supposed to happen, right? So let's look at how to kind of know exactly what the user clicked and actually do something after the click has happened. So to be able to do this, we're going to go ahead and say pop-up menu dot menu click, menu item click. So this is a special event handler that tracks what you click on your pop-up menu, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and add this event handler. So here it is. So every single time that we click on the pop-up menu, so this particular event handler will execute. Alright. So what we want to do here is that whenever a user selects a particular option, we want to display that option on our option test view. So this will be equal to e.item. So the item refers to the menu item, then the title formatted, right? So I'm going to select this. So I'm supposed to convert this to string. So this will take care of that error. So let's say, for instance, we want to do something particular whenever a user selects Java Indonesia. So we can actually, code up a condition that does that. So we can actually say if e.item.title formatted dot to string dot contains Java. So if that happens, we're gonna go ahead and display the title of that particular menu on a toast. And finally the toast length, which is going to be short. Alright, so this is basically all that we need to do. So let's go ahead and confirm that this works. So we're gonna run this on an emulator. Okay, so now when we click on best locations, when we drop this down, click on Beverly Hills, you can see Beverly Hills, USA. So when you select best meals, when we drop this down, you can now see options for best meals. So I can go ahead and click on grilled chili meat. Alright, now there is one other condition that we wrote up that checks the title of the menu that was selected. So let's click on Java Indonesia. So as you can see, it displays Java Indonesia. This is because this title contains Java, which is exactly what we wrote here. So you can go ahead and track the item ID if you wanted, or the title formatted if you wanted, depending on exactly what you want to achieve. So I hope you've really learned something new, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and if this is your first time, remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you can always get notified whenever I make this kind of video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you later.